It's 11:03. So welcome everyone. It is really great to have you here today. We are on episode 3 of Exchange with Lula, which is our webinar series that we host every Wednesday at 11 o'clock. So same time, same place every Wednesday. Just to give a bit of a recap to some of the people who weren't here on the first few episodes, we started off with episode 1, where we spoke about the state of the SME South African nation. Garth, our Chief Risk Officer, spoke to us about trends in the SME landscape over the last year and gave us some really cool insights. We then moved on to Thomas, who spoke to us last week, where he shared insights about funding your stock and how to maximize your ROI for your business growth, which was really great. And today we have Thomas again speaking about offering trade credit and how best to manage that. Thomas, for those of you who don't know, is our Chief Growth Officer. He has been working for Lula for 5 years. He started as the head of product and then the Chief Operations Officer and now the Chief Growth Officer. So he knows a lot about the business. If there are any webinars that you missed or you'd like to relook, we post all of our recordings on our YouTube channel every week right after our webinar wraps up. Our YouTube channel is called We Are Lula. So 3 words, We Are Lula, and you can find everything there. But we do always email you with a link after in case you missed anything. Today, our usual format is usually we have a thought leader who will share some insights with us. We then have a bit of a product demo, demoing our funding and banking product, and then we have a Q&A session. But today we have a very special guest, Teresa Ward, who is going to share some insights as one of our most valuable Lula customers. She's the managing director and co-owner of Manyene Holdings. So we'll start with Thomas and then we'll hand over to Teresa, who will share just a bit about her business and how she's used Lula funding to grow her business. So it's great to have you on the call, Teresa, and we will kick off with Thomas.
Morning, everybody. So as Lee mentioned, last week we were chatting a little bit about funding your stock or your inventory purchases. This week we're kind of flipping that script and talking about the other side of things. If you're a B2B operator and you have to give trade credit, which can be quite daunting. So let me kick off today just with our presentation. And so, like I said, this is all about B2B stock sales. So what do we mean by stock? Every business kind of calls it something a little bit different. So when we say stock, we mean stock, inventory, materials, finished goods for resale. So really, it's a mix of things, and we're kind of focusing on that other side of the relationship here. If you're selling these items, and so yeah, I mean B2B, it is a tough game. Especially if you're expected to provide your customers with kind of trade credit. If you're basically the one that's funding their purchases, it can be a bit of a competitive edge. Sometimes it's even table stakes. You just have to do it if you want to win a customer. And so what we've seen and what we've heard, 74% of the SME owners feel that they actually have to provide trade credit, feel like, look, this is a problem for me. This is quite challenging. This is quite tough. It's obviously a really big topic, and we could go into all sorts of angles here on, ensuring it or, kind of finding other solutions, managing it yourself more effectively. But we're just going to focus on the stuff that we know on the side of things. But if you find yourself in a situation where you're basically providing trade credit to your customers, that's half of all SME sales in South Africa. So I mean, it's a significant proportion of sales. And like we said, to be competitive, sometimes you have to provide it. So how can you compete with corporates, with other businesses out there? If they're providing terms to their customers, then sometimes you have to. And there's not something that maybe B2Cs often have to contend with. So there are unique challenges. And then the other part of it is that the SMEs that are offering trade credit, just the average number of accounts or average number of customers, even for quite small businesses, is much higher than you would think. So greater than 20 accounts is the average kind of trade credit book that we see. And that's quite a few people that owe you money for, and we'll show you average debtors days shortly, which I think would probably not shock a business owner, but maybe shock some other folks on the B2C side. So this fluctuates. Like we've spoken about average debtors days, but I think a couple things are really interesting here to note at this point in time. So this is Experian data that we're sharing. But the average debtors days does fluctuate by quarter. It is massively impacted by the macroeconomic environment, what's going on. But something that's pretty consistent is that SMEs in particular have to carry the cost of their customers buying stock for a lot longer than corporates do. And their ability to afford it is not necessarily the same. So where it is getting introduced as like a bit of a competitive advantage to win business, I think understanding that average debtors days is 70 days waiting to get paid after you've done a sale. And so it's incredibly important to manage this aspect of it. This is a cash flow killer. If you're selling on trade credit, it can massively affect your business. And then just understanding that maybe you agree to 30 days, maybe you agree to like a net 60 or something like that, but it's going to jump up and down on you. And I mean, if you've been dealing with it for any length of time, I'm sure you understand that well. But for a lot of businesses that are considering doing it because their customers are maybe feeling the pinch at the moment or aren't able to buy as much stock as they once were, it really does come with this long time to get paid or settled. So a core theme for us, we're always, as we're funding businesses, something that we think about is affordability. Can a business afford funding at this point in time? Are they willing to repay? So, is their history good? But then, do they actually have the money or the future income likely to come in order to afford credit? And so, prudent trade credit management is it's super vital to success, particularly for SMEs, particularly as debtors days can jump up and down, and having to chase payments itself has a cost. So it's not just the cost of carrying those days, but chasing payments, keeping the records, having people to follow up for you. All of that comes with a cost, and it's very real and sometimes quite hidden. So what we want to talk through is offering your customers' terms is not their only option. It's not your customer's only option. And what we see is about 25% of all of our customers, 25% of the folks that are getting funded with us, are using our facilities, funding from our side to fund stock and inventory purchases. And so it can be an effective way. Last week we kind of dove into the ROI around that, and how do you think through funding as opposed to getting trade credit from your suppliers or your vendors, or running through a card or anything like that. And so it's on both sides of the equation. It's really about cash flow management and understanding if it's worth doing, and calculating that return. So yeah, look, we say it's not the only way. What else? And so when your customers are coming to you and saying, look, I don't have the cash flow to fund this, or you need to help me so we can make this deal happen, what are the options that you can talk through? And so maybe you default to trade credit, but if that's not an option for you, and it really should be thought through, as we said, things that you can speak to your customers about, and this will be customer dependent, it'll be business dependent. You know, what's their model, what's their margins, what's their sales cycle. But you know, carrying the cost and the risk, you need to let your customers know as well, like if that's not possible. So there are short-term funding options. So you know, this is something like our term advance, but there are similar kind of short-term products out there that can service customer needs. Lines of credit. So while we don't have a specific line of credit, we do have our facility, which functions in some of the same ways. There's invoice financing. This is not something that we do, but yeah, helping customers, kind of maybe referring to providers that can help them with this. And then something that is quite new is buy now, pay later. So B2B buy now, pay later. In a future episode, we'll unpack a product that we have called Lula Pay. It's, you know, it's a way to work with your customers, maybe even give them some benefit. It's a bit like you being a merchant and saying to your customer, hey, we've got some deal with Lula Pay. We can get you you know, funded through them, provided that you meet their eligibility requirements. And you know, we can take on some of the cost of that funding, where you'd get effectively 30 days in certain scenarios, and you know, you need to basically cover the rest. And that's one way of maybe taking a bit of the cost, if you so choose. You don't have to, but then, you know, making sure you're not taking on the risk, and that risk is moving elsewhere. And it would also save you costs on chasing for, you know, collections, that sort of thing. So that's a really interesting offering. As I said, we're going to share a lot more information about that in future. And then just on a side note, if you do refer customers, we've got an affiliates referral reward program. So we do actually have affiliates that sign up. They refer customers. Accounting firms are you know, are folks that kind of do this, and you know, all sorts of other business. Obviously, there's lead generators, that sort of thing as well. But we do have a channel where you can earn a percentage on business that you refer. So, you know, maybe you don't want to do the Lula Pay thing. Your margins aren't there for something like that. It's just not, you know, it's not something that you want to get involved in. Fair enough. Even if you do refer. And look, selfishly, that's what Lula does. I'm sure other businesses out there do that as well. So just something to be on the lookout for if you are referring customers elsewhere. Cool. So if you are going to go down that path of providing trade credits, so let's assume you've presented options to your customer, or you don't really want to do that, but you don't want to lose a deal either. Some of the things that we see kind of impacting our customers that end up offering trade credit. Yes, it can drive more sales. Yes, it can drive customer retention and long-term relationships. And that's the good side of it. When it's not so good, we see where customers aren't able to actually understand the creditworthiness of their customers. And so how do you as a business understand, can somebody pay you back? Are they willing, but also are they able? How do you know the financial health and credit history? And there are ways to do this. You can build up a relationship over time and just, you know, increase your exposure to a particular customer over time. That said, markets do change, business performance does change, and so even great customers can end up not paying you at some point in time. And so this is a real challenge. There are services out there that you can turn to that can help you with this sort of thing. The other side is just thinking through your cash flow impact. I think it's important where we see our customers saying to us, look, you know, I'm struggling, I'm waiting to get paid. I need bridging funding because I'm waiting for, you know, a bunch of folks to pay me and I haven't been paid yet. And that often happens when those debtors days suddenly jump or spike. And yes, it can be one customer, but often what you find is when the market's not great, it's going to be more than one customer. and you're going to be dealing with quite a big problem on your hands where it's a few late payers, and hopefully it's just late and it's not no payment. So mapping out your cash flow scenarios, like great, medium, poor kind of cash flow scenarios, and understanding what you can really tolerate is important, and to know when to start chasing a little bit harder so that you're not kind of like the last person that's waiting to get paid is super important. It's a fine balancing act on relationships with customers. And then being super clear on the terms and the limits that you set. It's, if you kind of go into this and you're a little bit fast and loose, and for this customer, you've got this agreement, and this customer, you've got another agreement. It's easy when it's one or two, but as we said, even on the SME front, it's more than we're seeing more than 20 accounts having to be managed as soon as you do this, even for SMEs on average. And so having very clear terms, that 30, 60, 90 days, making sure that you set limits and policies in place so that you are able to actually forecast your cash flow is super important. Collections and mitigating your risk, you can't assume that by offering this, you're always going to get paid. And often we see folks are only starting to think about how to collect money when the money's not coming through and it's a bit late. And this is a real cost. So getting the people to do this, if somebody's not paying you and it's a really big contract, what do you do then? How do you hand them over to some other collections agency? Have you got some sort of insurance policy in place to mitigate this risk somehow? These are all really important things to think through. And you don't want to wait until it's too late, until you're sitting with a big outstanding balance and you can't make it. And then industry and economic conditions. It's easy to kind of just keep your head down and not pay too much attention to the news. But South Africa's macro state has a massive impact on every business. If the renewable space was on a high for a long time, and then all of a sudden, nobody expected load shedding to stop, and it didn't, and we've seen that industry come under pressure. And so even when you think you're in the best industry in the world, things can change very quickly for you. And so I think being on point on those things and not kind of keeping your head down for too long and not seeing these things come is really important. Great. So nice and short one today, quite brief, just things to think about. Why are we sharing this information? Well, just because we do see this happening a lot with our customers that have to provide trade credit, and then they're providing credit, and then they have to come and get credit, and so there's that double cost as well. And managing this effectively, I think, is key to protecting your own credit worthiness, your own ability to access funding and access credit when you need it most. And then obviously we've got products that make sense for this. And I think the important part here is to understand the return. Is it going to actually drive sales, or are you doing it just because you don't have another option? You're going to lose a deal. Factor in the time it takes to get paid. Really, really important. And track your average debtors days. Know what your average debtors days looks like. You actually have to if you're providing credit, you may as well just be a funder yourself. That's essentially that's the challenge that you're taking on. And so taking it quite seriously and actually managing your book proactively and making sure it's performing the way you want it to is important. And if you're not comfortable there, I think it's best to really look at what your other alternatives are. And most customers, if you explain it to them clearly, generally you'd have a good idea. Is this customer open and receptive to these things, or is it just a no-go zone? And so, yeah, just be aware of those alternatives, think it through. and practice it with those limits and those rules in place. Don't break your rules. Don't break your limits. That often catches businesses out, because as soon as you're getting pushed into that, it's for a reason. Downstream in the supply chain, other people are under pressure. That is going to move through a supply chain. So make sure that like you are looking after your business, and that ability to access credit. So with that, I'll end there, and I'll hand back to Lee for a bit before we do a demo later in the episode.
Thanks, Thomas. Thank you for sharing that. It's really great to have access to your experience working with so many businesses and understanding the challenges. So it's great to hear your insights. Thank you for that. Now we are going to chat with Teresa Ward, who is the Managing Director and co-owner of Manyene Holdings. Teresa, thank you so much for joining us. It's great to have you here, and it's really, really lovely to hear from a customer's perspective. I want to kick off by just asking you to share a bit about your business. Anything you'd like to share with us would be awesome. Thanks.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Can everybody hear me?
Yes,
Perfect.
I can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, all right. As introduced, I'm Teresa Ward from Manyene Holdings. Manyene Holdings is a Black female-owned company. We've just got about 7 years of industry experience, but we have actually established ourselves as leaders in the fire and security industry. We specialize in fire detection, CCTV, access control, among others. There's quite a wide range. And we've got 2 departments. We've got the service department and we've got project side. So on the service department is we get SLAs, which is regular income for us. So that's actually our bread and butter. And on the project side, it's usually projects that will be specifically for a year or longer, depending on the value of the contract. And I suppose with today's topic, the most important, for us, basically having to run a successful business, funding has been crucial for us. So since securing funding with Lula, it has helped us incredibly. We've managed to increase our inventory, especially for our projects, because most projects need stock for us to proceed with the projects. And also the service department, at least with the projects, you can plan ahead because then you know when the project is going to start. Or else with the service department, it's mostly ad hoc. So you can get a call out, and when the guys go there, they find, okay, they need this, they need that, and it has to be done like quite quickly. So with having the cash flow from Lula's funding, that has actually helped us a lot because now we can buy in bulk and have reserve stock for those type of jobs that we have to do on ad hoc. And I think the most crucial role that Lula has helped us with is the cash flow. So our cash flow has improved quite tremendously. And we now can, manage and maintain liquidity without depleting our operational capital. And I suppose it also has given us faster project completion with having the funds and being able to complete our projects on time. So can I move ahead like relevant to the trade credit? So we ourselves offer a trade credit to our customers. So we've got a 30-day account with them. Basically, upon invoice, they have to pay within 30 days. But because we are usually the subcontractors, so for bigger projects, we don't always get paid on time. Like Thomas was saying earlier, you need to negotiate with your clients 60-day, 90-day. It is 30 days, but we never, ever get paid a 30-day because the main contractor has to get paid first, then we get paid. So if you don't have that cash flow, remember, you've got all your operational things that you have to do, pay salaries and all of that. So to be honest with you, quite a few times we've done a drawdown with Lula to assist with that, because yes, the sales are there. Giving that trade credit to the clients, it has increased our sales. We're just 2 million shy away from being a large enterprise. So that's quite an achievement for us. So yeah, without Lula, I don't know where we would be. So that's what we offer in terms of our trade credit to our clients. But then also for us to also manage, sorry, I need to put the fan on. It's getting hot. So our suppliers also offer us a 30-day account. So we need to pay within 30 days. But for certain number of stock, if we're spending $1 million or $2 million, we can always negotiate, because sometimes you may be ordering the R1 million of stock, but you're not going to get it all at the same time. So we can say to them, okay, you can give us half of it and we'll pay within 30 days of that. But they've been quite understanding. We've even managed to do a 60 to 90 days with our suppliers. So we're quite fortunate.
That is so great to hear your story.
Yeah.
It's really awesome to hear a practical perspective on how it works and how Lula's helped you. So thank you for sharing. I think it's great for other business owners to hear. And it's also great for us who work at Lula to see the impact and share in your success. So that is really awesome. And we hope you meet the 2 million rand mark soon from enterprise. Great news. Thank you for sharing and thank you for being here.
Sorry, what did you say about the 2 million?
Oh, you were saying that you were going to make enterprise level.
Large, yes. So we're QSE now. We were just 2 million shy away from being 50 million, which we would have been a large enterprise. But we obviously don't want that, because as soon as you get to that mark, you're going to lose out on a whole lot of stuff, like supply development. We receive funding where they just give us R500,000 and say, spend it on skills, spend it on stock. So if there's any other business owners here below 50 million, that's something they should look at, because most of these big firms, if you've got a good BEE, it helps them, but in turn, it actually helps you a lot more, because you can use that money to purchase equipment, to upskill your staff. So just see what's out there. It's very helpful.
Thank you for those tips.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Now handing over to Thomas for a bit of a product demo. We're going to be demoing funding, but also a bit of a deeper dive into banking today.
Wonderful. Thanks, Teresa. We love this business, and I'll show you just how much we love them, because it's a fantastic business. Teresa and Edwina are on our site, and we love their feedback. It's great when you do have customers that are always willing to chat to other businesses and say good things about us. I'm sure that's not the only type of customer we have, but we certainly do love them for it. So thanks so much, Teresa. So today we're going to do another live demo, just show you a little bit, give a little bit of a sense of what Lula offers practically. So often it's hard to kind of, yes, we offer funding, but what does that mean? What does it look like? How can you use it? We pride ourselves on being a digital business, and we're making some big investments there. Hopefully, those are things that you see coming. You see even more of that coming out in the months and years to follow. So something that we did have a specific request to talk about today was just our banking product. So we're known as a funder. We were Lula Lend. We're now Lula. We're still primarily known as a funder. And yes, that's absolutely our core. That is our bread and butter. And that's not something that we ever want to not do well or step away from. We're augmenting that basically with a banking offering, or at least a transactional account at this point in time. So you can find out quite a lot about it at lula.co today. Got an entire section just on the business bank account. We've got basically two flavors of the bank. We've got a no monthly fee account. So basically a pay-as-you-transact option. And this is like a really low barrier. Do you want to just see what we've got to offer? Do you want to see what it looks like? Very low risk to try it out. Maybe it works for sole props. Maybe it works for kind of startups, that sort of thing. But really, we think the far more valuable offering and where we'd like to take our customers is on our unlimited business account. And we call it the unlimited account basically because our customers asked us for three things, and we're really working hard to deliver those. So one, they wanted a single flat fee to know what they're paying on their bank every month. With a number of other more traditional options, it can fluctuate massively. And so we've got the flat fee. With that comes a dedicated relationship banker. So somebody that can help you with your funding and your bank all in one place. We've got a few of these folks on the call with us today. We've got Sipakazi, Jody, Mikhail. So if any of you are working with them, just you can see some of the faces there. And then the other side of it is to link that to funding and get paid faster with your funding. So a single flat fee and that includes all the EFTs. So yes, there are other transaction types that are paid for, like faster payments, but all EFTs are included in there. You won't pay for any transfers or EFTs. You've got the dedicated relationship banker, and you've got the access to the facility. So if we are able to link your facility, we do much faster payouts into the bank account. It's literally hours versus a day or two, depending on if you're with another bank. So you can find out quite a bit about the product here. You do get a Lula card. It's completely in terms of the business bank account. What's it good for? What's it not good for? So in terms of all your domestic type transactions, it's a full service bank account. EFTs, faster payments, high value SWIFT, so greater than 5 million Rand transactions. We offer that. You can run debit orders against your account. You can get paid just like a normal bank account, paid into it. There's all the standard stuff, account number, branch codes, all of that. So it works exactly like you'd expect a traditional bank account to work. We're also in association with MasterCard. We've got a full service card, transactional card that goes with it. You can use this internationally. So you can swipe overseas. It swipes everywhere in South Africa. We've got virtual and physical versions of it. You'll never pay for swipes. It's free. Well, that's something that maybe you're used to on a personal banking level. I think checking your fees with business bank accounts is important. There are all sorts of hidden fees on business bank accounts. What we're not great at, so just being completely transparent, what are the things that we don't do well? Well, if you're dealing a lot in foreign currency, we don't have all the licensing in place to do international inbound or outbound SWIFT transactions. That's not something that we're going to be the best option for if that's something you need. If you're looking for a branch and you want to deposit cash, that's not something that we're the best for. There are better options. If you are a business that does primarily operate through EFT and online, which is about 80% of the transactions we see from our customers are EFT payments, and that's the way they earn as well. Most of their customers pay them via EFT. Then we're a good option. If you want to link point of sale devices through aggregators out there, the likes of Yoko and Coca, etc., we're a pretty good option for you there as well. And so that's kind of the rundown on what we're good for and maybe where we're not so great. You can go to the site, you can find out about the free account, the unlimited account. You can dig into pricing and see all the costs associated with the account. We've also got a help center. So if you want to find out more, I'm only sharing one screen here. Let me share the correct screen. There we go. We've also got a help center. And so support.lula.co today. You can find out quite a bit about all of our products here. If it's something, if you prefer not to have to call anyone or, speak to someone, you can find out about funding and business banking online. There's a great benefits guide as well that you can download. I think I've got a copy of it here. So you can download the benefits guide and it'll unpack the account for you. Our relationship bankers can share this with you as well, with all the very highest frequently asked questions. The most frequent questions are all in here. And then what we're going to do is a bit of a demo today. I am going to keep it high level and keep it focused on bank at this point in time. There's always great pressure coming with a demo. So let's see how we go. Please bookmark secure.lula.co today if you are a customer, if you're trying to track an application with us. We see a lot of people like Googling us again after they've submitted, or even if they've got an account, not being able to find it easily. Just bookmark that page. It's really easy to log in. You just need an email and a password. I'll talk a little bit more about security now, and the sorts of features that you can enable. Once you log into your account, I love it, a live demo. Sorry, let me log out and log back in. Technical demo gremlins. Forgive me for a second.
Happens. Yeah.
Let me do a hard refresh.
Again.
There we go. Sorry, it is loading. It's loaded in the background. On the right page. There we go. Cool. Can you see my screen?
Perfect.
Yep.
All right. Okay, cool. So once you're logged in, what you'll be able to see is your Lula dashboard, and you'll get a list of all your accounts. So you can see basically your available balance, which is the sum of all the balances in your various accounts, as well as any available balance you have on your facility. So if you do have a facility where there are funds, I don't have funds available to withdraw, so it's not included there. Just to note that like any withdrawal is still subject to an assessment. So it's just showing you what funds you are able to access, but your facility is always subject to an affordability check to see that we are able to disperse those funds. You'll get a list of all the bank accounts that you have with us. What's great about Lula is you can very easily in your business or for your business add a new account. All you have to do is give that account a name, and you can create it on the fly right then and there. This is not something that you're generally able to do with every bank. It's something that we do offer that's quite specific to Lula. In terms of transfers, we do also offer the ability between these accounts to do transfers instantly. There's no fees applicable, so you can very quickly do transfers between your accounts and basically manage different pots, if you like, of cash flow. With each account, we do offer cards. So as soon as an account is opened, we always by default open a virtual card for you. So a virtual MasterCard is created for every account. You can go on here, you can view your card details. So you can get the full PAN, the CVV, the expiry date. You can copy those card details, and you can use this for online purchases, that sort of thing, straight off the bat. You can also freeze your cards and unfreeze your cards online anytime you like. We do offer physical cards. So once you have an account set up, you're able to order a physical card and get that delivered. So all our cards will be couriered. We use the courier guy. We pride ourselves on once a card's ordered, being able to get it to you, depending on where you are in the country, within 2 days. And again, here you can view all your card details the way you would expect in your bank, and freeze and unfreeze. And you can change your PIN and unblock a card from in the app at any point in time. And as I said, it's a fully featured card. Another great feature behind our card side of things is you're able to add multiple cards. So each director or each person in the business can have one virtual and one physical card assigned to them, up to 50 cards, and that's per account. So that's a great way to basically issue additional cards. The one thing that we will say is that it is subject to, it all gets covered under the original business cards limits and that sort of thing. Now, details. So obviously, if you're using this Lula account, we're not a bank, we're not a licensed bank, but we do have permission from the SARB to partner with Access Bank. We leverage their license, but we're able to offer all the services of the bank. Just like you'd expect from any bank account, you have an account holder name, you've got the issuing bank, being Access Bank in our case, you've got your own dedicated account number, and then there's a branch code. So Access Bank does have a universal branch code, but this is Lula's branch code that can be used to send payments. You can share these details or copy them. So share with an existing Lula client or copy them. And also pretty good, you can download your account confirmation letter. You don't have to request this from a bank or anything like that. So if you've got RFPs or tenders, or you need a proof of a confirmation of your bank, you can access that at any time. What I did want to show you is a copy of that bank letter. So let me download one now. See, sorry, my internet connection is a little bit slow. Maybe it's being on Zoom at the same time. There we go. There's a resume. Can you see the bank confirmation letter? So this is basically our standard confirmation letter. It is stamped to today's date. It'll give you all your account information, and you can use this. And as we said, because we've got that license that we're leveraging from Access Bank, this is a fully featured bank account. It is part of the South African National Payment System, etc. Great. So back to the account. In terms of payments, we do offer, like we said, EFT and faster payments, so RTC, where you get real-time clearing. You can manage your beneficiaries on the Lula account, so you can add as many beneficiaries as you like. You can search through those beneficiaries. If you go to a beneficiary, you can see all their account details. You can edit those details. You can delete. You can see your history, and with that history, you can download the proof of payment for each of those payments that you've made. And to do payments is pretty straightforward as well. If you got the beneficiary, it's very easy to make a payment. Choose which account that you're going to make that payment from. Review your payments, set it to a faster payment for real-time clearing, we do charge a 20 Rand fee for that real-time or that immediate settlement. And then you can flag whether or not you want notifications to be sent. You can actually pay multiple beneficiaries at one time. So you can generate a list of beneficiaries and pay them all at the same time, just to streamline those payment processes. So if you've got a list of your beneficiaries, for instance, you can go and load multiple payments, review your payments list, flag, customize your reference, their reference for each unique payment, and toggle your settings, choose where you want to pay it from, and go from there. We do have one-off payments as well, and public beneficiaries. And then another feature that we do have is you can set up payments as recurring payments. So if you just want to set it up once, and you want that to be a recurring thing, like every month or every week, etc., you can manage your recurring payments, your scheduled payments. You can see any failed and manage all of those sorts of things. So you can create detailed schedules, a little bit like you could setting up a recurring meeting in your calendar, for instance. So that in a nutshell is the account. There are a number of features that we are adding and that you will see coming through the course of the year. Very exciting. We've got an iOS and an Android mobile app coming out that'll integrate first for our banking, then it'll integrate the funding so that you can do this on the go. We've got we've already got a multi-company feature. And so let me just move this little annoying icon. We do have a multi-company feature already where you're able to toggle. If I had multiple companies, you'd be able to toggle between those companies. So you can manage multiple companies from one profile and switch between your companies. We've got businesses that have upwards of 13, or business owners with upwards of 13, 14 businesses, and they can quickly and easily switch between their company profiles. In the very near term, we're launching multi-user, which would mean that you could have not only multiple companies, you could have multiple users able to access each account, and have a different profile for each company. And then we will be releasing what we're calling our payment controls feature in the near term, which will allow you to basically load and release payments, and that'll be for any of our new accounts that we create. We're working to bring that to existing customers, but it'll go out with all new accounts. And then finally, just from a security perspective, security does create like a little bit of a clumsy experience sometimes, but we do offer multi-factor authentication on the account. So this is quite important to protect an account. And so if you do enable that on your account, you have to go and enable it yourself. You can do that from within your profile management tab. And let me see here. Yes, I do want to cancel the creation. And once you have that enabled, the next time you log in, you're going to have to do a facial verification. So then it moves to the secure login feature. There are a couple of things to press, and then it does a real-time biometric scan on your face. It can be a bit annoying. We do warn you, the mobile experience is significantly better. Let's go here. Apparently I need, oh, there we go. I need to get really close. That's not something I do very often. But yes, so we do offer this 2FA, or this multi-factor authentication with a biometric scan on web. We do have Face ID and biometrics coming on the mobile side as well. And so that in a nutshell is the bank offering, and it is fully integrated with our funding offering as well. Thank you. Any questions? I know we ran a little bit longer there than we expected.
That was an impressive demo, Thomas. Even doing the face authentication. Bold, but it worked. There was a question which we can respond to offline about government funding. I know if it's relevant to everyone here. But any other questions on the product or what Thomas spoke about, feel free to unmute and ask. If you don't have any questions now, you're always welcome to email me directly. We'll send out an email at the end of this webinar with the recording, and you're welcome to reply straight to that if you have any other questions that pop up. Give you 10 seconds to think about it. And if no questions, then we'll close.
Thanks, folks. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate your time.